It appears to be a subspace tear. My readings suggest it is disrupting long-range sensors to a degree, which explains why we only discovered it now. The tear otherwise appears stable. However, prolonged exposure at close proximity could destabilize our systems.
First Officer's Log, Stardate 49562.1. For the past several days, Voyager has maintained a steady course at Warp 6, while the AI Forge continues its research and development work on the new computer processor. The crew has grown increasingly eager to begin implementing B'Elanna's proposals once the system is ready. Ensign Kim and Lieutenant Tuvok have been analyzing long-range sensor data, with Neelix offering his insight on the region of space ahead. For the first time in a while, the ship feels optimistic.
Captain, if I may, this region of space has always made traders uneasy. Back when I was out here, the star charts always flagged a Red Dwarf system as volatile. The general wisdom was to avoid them unless absolutely necessary.
Volatile? Did you ever find out what caused it?
Not exactly. It was one of those unspoken rules. Better to just steer clear. It could have been anything. Subspace disturbances, pirates, or just bad luck. I never stuck around long enough to find out.
Mr. Kim, what are the sensors telling us? Are there any Red Dwarf systems in range?
Actually, yes, Captain. There's a Red Dwarf system 5.3 light-years away. It seems isolated enough, but it also looks to be home to an anomaly.
That seems awfully close. Why didn't the sensors pick it up before? And what sort of anomaly are we talking about?
Sensor readings are still coming through. A moment. It appears to be a subspace tear. My readings suggest it is disrupting long-range sensors to a degree, which explains why we only discovered it now. The tear otherwise appears stable. However, prolonged exposure at close proximity could destabilize our systems.
Unfortunately, we can't get other readings at this distance due to the tear's interference. We would need to get closer to establish if the system is otherwise viable. But given the fact it's M-type, chances are it is.
Captain, this could explain why traders avoided these systems. If the tear's been around for a while, it might have caused enough trouble to give the area its reputation.
Since that is most likely the case, it would hardly seem suitable for our needs.
Actually, that sounds like an ideal system to lay low, if you ask me. Subspace terrors are dangerous, but that works in our favor since no one in their right mind would consider setting up camp near one.
You mean, except us?
Point is, it gives us some cover because it seems to disrupt sensors, but I agree we'll need to stay careful. If we go there and it turns out to be viable, I recommend we reduce power to some systems so we can lower the ship's energy profile and blend into the environment better until we get some headway in our operations.
Well, that's certainly one way to look at things, but it's not without risk.
A few days ago, we agreed to R&D and construct a ZPE core and a host of other things, which in themselves could be considered preposterous and risky. Also, sometimes the most dangerous places are safest, Captain. It's why the Maquis chose the Badlands as our hiding grounds, and where you were sent to find us.
How could I forget? But just to be sure, Mr. Kim, anything else of potential viability on long-range scans?
We have noted another system. No signs of anomalies, but
the star system in question is in close proximity to where we were duplicated and destroyed a Vidiian ship. Furthermore, because of the sensor disruption, we were not able to properly ascertain its viability. It was my recommendation that Ensign Kim excludes that system from consideration due to security concerns, and I would similarly advise against retracing our steps under our current circumstances. While I have similar reservations about the system with the subspace tear, Commander Chakotay provided a compelling argument, assuming we can take necessary precautions.
I have to agree. In the absence of other suitable options, the M-type system with the tear is closer and might be our best option. If not, we'll simply continue on our way and look for others down the line.
B'Elanna, check the telemetry of Mr. Kim and Tuvok's findings. Could the subspace tear interfere with our operations?
The readings on it are coming through with relative ease since it's sticking out like a sore thumb on our scans. If we keep a sufficient distance while in the system, it shouldn't interfere with transporter functions or matter reclamation from the asteroids if we find any and I make some adjustments to the targeting scanners. But Captain, I'll need Carrie and the rest of the engineering staff to work closely on our modifications and subsequent upgrades, so I won't be able to spare anyone for other things unless we are in a critical situation.
Understood. Mr. Kim, keep your eyes peeled on that subspace tear. I want to know if it so much as twitches.
Aye, Captain.
We also don't want to get blindsided while we're stationary. I take it the sensor blockout prevents us from determining alien activity or signs of technology?
You are correct, Commander. Logic suggests if Mr. Neelix's earlier descriptions are to be taken at face value, it is possible the system would be avoided by others. Alternatively, it could attract attention over time for those sufficiently curious about the tear or looking to exploit potential natural resources. This increases our chances of being detected, especially if we extend our stay.
Well, if we do detect signs of alien activity, we'll need to be ready to make a fast exit. I want contingency plans for every possible scenario. I would prefer avoiding a hostile encounter in our current state, or any state for that matter.
Oh, I'm sure the neighbors wouldn't mind us borrowing a few asteroids. But I'll have our engines on standby and an escape route plan based on typical M-type systems layouts long before we reach this one, and I'll make final adjustments once we have a better idea of what it looks like.
All right then. We'll proceed with caution.
Mr. Paris, adjust course for the system with the subspace tear. Maintain our current speed. What's our ETA?
Adjusting course. At present speed, we should reach it in about 5 days.
Good. Ms. Torres, you may now allocate 80% of the computer core operations to increase R&D speed, and I'll need you to confirm we can safely initiate the mining operation without triggering any instability. Tuvok, increase sensor scans of our immediate vicinity, and I want everyone to be on alert once we arrive.
Yes, Captain.